Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jack, back again to bring you the Holy Priest 7.2 guide. Everything you need to know in a quick and easy to consume format. Of course, if you're already pretty well versed with what's going on and all of the changes so far, be sure to check out my advanced section. Link is going to be, the timestamp is going to be below. Also, if you're interested in the very verbose and the more lengthy explanation of all the talents and the full readout of all the talents, check out my guide. It's on Wowhead. The link is also in the description below. All right, but getting into it, Holy Priest is the quintessential dynamic anything goes, jack of all trades healer. Through our holy words, of course, we have two major holy words. They are Holy Word Serenity, which is the highest single target heal in the game at the moment, which is only a 1 minute cooldown. And then, of course, Holy Word Sanctify, which is an AoE radius, which will heal for a very large portion on 6 people. Those are our two largest heals. And of course, they are allowing us to tackle just about any situation that is thrown at us. So with these holy words, we're able to further reduce them by using Serendipity. Serendipity, of course, is the passive, which is allowing us to reduce the cooldown of our holy words, depending on what spell that we're casting. So if we're casting Smite, for example, we're reducing the holy word of our Chastise, or reducing the holy word Chastise. If we're casting Flash Heal or Heal, we're reducing Serenity. Casting Prayer of Healing, or if you talent Piety and you use Prayer of Mending, it'll also reduce the cooldown of Sanctify. So having these interactions is very strong, and of course, while Flash Heal and Prayer of Healing are big parts of our rotation, or priority, you may say, they're even more important because they are reducing the cooldown of our holy words, and getting our holy words out faster and faster is always going to be extremely, extremely important. So getting into it with your talents, Enlightenment with the mana regen is going to be usually the way to go. It's going to be the default at the moment. Trail of Light is also going to be very powerful in some limited situations. So if you're needing lots of single target healing on a specific boss, say Spellblade Alluriel, where multiple targets are going to be getting a frost debuff, being able to switch targets between and still be putting out a good amount of targeted specific healing on people can be very powerful. Potentially for other fights where there's tank damage on both tanks at the same time, it can be pretty good. But for the most part, you're going to be taking Enlightenment as a default. From there, Feather is the optimal movement speed increase, and having the extra movement speed will eventually just let you take less damage and be able to go and cast more often. So it's really the way to go out of any of the other talents in this branch. Going to 45 for rating, Afterlife is going to be the way to go. Having the extended Spirit of Redemption in case you die, be very, very nice. Adds a couple extra seconds to it. And often you're not able to really take advantage of Chastise, which is the stun, or Shining Force, which is the knockback. Those are generally going to be used in Mythic Plus dungeons. So having either of the two in Mythic Plus dungeons will be nice, but for the most part, you're taking an Afterlife in raids every single time. For the 60 talent, you're always going to be taking Light of the Naru. Further cooldown reduction with your holy words is just so immensely powerful. The other two talents don't live up to the hype. Unfortunately, not Symbol of Hope as well, because while the mana looks very, very strong, our reliance on holy words pumping out very rapidly is just such a huge factor for us that if we're not taking Light of the Naru, it's very much going to be very painful. So just keep an eye on that. Going into your 75 traits, or talents, I should say. Piety is the talent to go for. The further cooldown reduction of Prayer of Mending, which is very, very important because Prayer of Mending is also reduced by our haste, but having an extra 2 seconds knocked off is very, very strong. And the fact that it's reducing the cooldown of our Sanctify is going to be immensely powerful. This is the talent to go for raids. You could take any of these for Mythic Plus, whichever you prefer. But for raids, you definitely have to be taking some Piety. Binding Heal might see some big play in the future as we're getting more and more interaction with our holy words come to Sargeras, but for the moment, it's not quite strong enough. Of course, talking about further interaction with our holy words, Divinity is definitely the way to go. The other two talents just do not match up to this strength. The heal increase that you're getting is so substantial that you're getting just such tremendous value out of it over the course of long encounters. Ideally, if you're looking at your own logs, you want to have around 35% uptime on Divinity at all times and all fights. So for your 100 talent, Circle Heal is a joke. I would never recommend taking it in any situation. Benediction is the way to go. The Prayer of Mending interaction has tremendous synergy with Piety and just with your holy words in general further on. So it's very, very powerful to be taking Benediction. You know, the extra renews will be nice because for the most part, you're not going to be casting much renew at all. So it's very, very important just to be, you know, always casting this on the tank, and always casting your Prayer of Mendings on the tank to focus who you may want to get the renew ticks off of. So for the most part, like I said, it's going to be on the tanks. Apotheosis, while it looks fantastic and the holy word synergy would seem to fit the mold of everything else that a Holy Priest might want. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite stack up at the moment in terms of rating, and it's not quite strong enough. Again, we'll see what happens when Tomb of Sargeras drops, and I'll be sure to update you guys as well when that happens. But for the most part, Apotheosis right now is just not stacking up where it needs to be in terms of rating. For Mythic Plus, however, it's immensely powerful. You're easily able to switch gears in between tanking and healing and DPSing, and it's very, very strong, just to kind of bring you back from any kind of crazy situations and stuff like that. So that wraps up the talents. Going more into your stats and what you want to be gemming, enchanting, gearing up for. First things first, for Holy Priest, item level is generally going to be king. If you're gearing up, you definitely want to be taking item level upgrades whenever possible. Stats do have, different rankings and different values and stuff like that. But for the most part, intellect is just going to be king. So when you do get to the point where you're able to manipulate your stats and you're getting all gemmed and enchanted up, for your neck enchant, you want to be going into Mark of the Ancient Priestess. It's a very strong heal that scales more and more with your intellect, and it scales with your crit, it scales with your verse, all kinds of nice stuff like that. For your back enchant, you always want to be going with intellect. For your rings, primarily you're going to be going with mastery. And this brings us into more or less your end goal with your stats. So ideally, you want to be around 35 to 40% mastery. If you're around that region, it's all right. It'd be a little over, a little under, it's okay. But if you're getting tremendously over, say like 50% mastery or higher or something like that, or even maybe 45 or so, you may want to start dropping mastery, starting with your ring enchants or starting with your gems, for example. Gemming, you want to be going into mastery. You always want to have 1 plus 200 intellect gem, which is the Saber's Eye of Intellect. You always want to have one of those, and then you're going to mastery afterwards. But again, if you're going way too high in mastery, then you can start going into crit after that. After mastery, of course, crit and haste do have quite a bit of value. So if you're getting around 15 to 20% haste, it's a nice place to be. And then, of course, going into crit afterwards. Crit is extremely valuable. It's a very, very strong heal over the course of long encounters and stuff like that. And even having a little bit of versatility, generally speaking, most people will say under 5% or around or under 5% is a nice place to be. Once you're going a little bit further overboard with that, versatility scales horribly, and it becomes a very undesirable stat to have. If you're able to get any leech on your gear as a tertiary stat, it's just an add-on to your usual stats. Leech is extremely powerful from a healer perspective. It's so good. Definitely get some leech in your gear if at all possible. Bringing us to some of the gear to look for in Nighthold. Again, trinket-wise, having any kind of stat sticks are usually the way to go. So the Celestial Map off Star Augur, the Urn off of Nightbane, for example, all really, really strong. The only heal trinket at the moment that's actually very valuable is the Perfectly Preserved Cake. So if you're able to get one of these, they're very, very strong and very, very potent over the course of long encounters. Check out my Wowhead guides below for a full list of all the trinkets and all the different kind of rankings and things like that you may need, all linked below. And now this brings us on to our artifact traits. So with 7.2, we have recently gotten new artifact traits, and we're able to add one more trait to all of our original 3 of 3 artifact traits. So what this allows us to do is it gives us the option before we start our new Paragon trait, which is going to be a proc intellect effect. Before we start that, we first have to fill out the rest of our artifact almost all over again, and we have some new options in terms of our artifact traits and the route that we want to be able to take. So the image on your screen will show you the ideal route to be going for. After you get your first 35 traits, you're going to get the Paragon in the center, and then you're immediately going to start on the list as follows. So the first trait is Light of the Conclave. It's just a flat 10% healing and damage increase, so must have. After that, you're getting the new 404, which is Caress of the Naru, increasing the healing bonus from your Light of Ture, which is, of course, your artifact ability. That is increasing the healing bonus on the target by up to 20% once you fill it out, all 404. The new non-golden trait, Times and Measures, damage you take has a chance to reset the cooldown of Desperate Prayer, proportional to the magnitude of that damage. So this can be immensely powerful. We'll have to do a little bit more testing to see how it really shapes up. But even still, you definitely want to be sticking to this route to get the last trait, Cosmic Ripple. When Holy Word Serenity or Sanctify finish their cooldowns, you emit a burst of light that heals up to 5 injured targets for about 70-80k each. Keep that in mind. You're hitting all these targets for about 70 to 80k each every single time your Holy Word is coming off cooldown. It's a very, very powerful spell, and it's a very, very powerful passive that we're gaining out of this patch. So it'll be very, very strong. Now, of course, after that, you'll be seeing the chart, which will be showing you where you want to be going afterwards. Hallowed Ground already is a very good trait just in general, but it's only getting stronger once we get Cosmic Ripple, and it's furthering that synergy that'll be immensely, immensely valuable. Especially as we go on to the tier 20, and the set bonus is there, it'll just get so strong to have higher and higher levels of cooldown reduction. From there, you're following the general path of Say Your Prayers, Holy Guidance, and then you can see the rest. This is based primarily off of just the spells that you're gaining the most value out of over the course of encounters, and what will just be the most beneficial to your healing, because it will take a while to fill out all of these traits, and then we can start moving on to our Paragon. So moving on into advanced playstyle, and playstyle in general, my guides always list out a rough priority of what you want to be going for, but it always can vary over the course of fights. So you always want to be using your Holy Words as often as you can. That's priority number 1. Your Holy Words do a ton of healing for the mana cost, and it's so immensely important just to further the other synergies that you're getting with the spec, and to continue on that. Further than that, using your Lighted Turret, which is your artifact ability, using your Prayer of Mending on cooldown, using both of them on cooldown on the tanks whenever possible. Lighted Turret is a very small heal up front, but when you're able to further get that buff rolling for, say, your Prayer of Mendings, and keep in mind that you're taking Benediction, so your Prayer of Mendings can leave a Renew on them. They'll be leaving Echo anyway. You're having all kinds of healing that's just going to go to the tanks anyway from just your own direct healing. It can get very, very strong very quickly, and definitely be worth going for. So it's very, very easy just to be able to focus your healing into them. And the spell, Lighted Turret, is free. Keep in mind, Prayer of Mending is very, very cheap. So if you're ever running into mana problems, this is the area you may want to be looking at, is your Prayer of Mending casts. From there, you're looking at using your Flash Heal or your Prayer of Healing as just the primary support heal when you do not have your Holy Words up. And those spells are really focused on when is the damage happening and what is required of you. So for example, if you're on a fight like Crosis, where there's lots and lots of AoE damage going out constantly, you're going to spend a lot of time using Prayer of Healing. But in between the slams and the orbs and everything like that, there's quite a bit of tank damage too. So this will be where you're taking advantage of Holy Priest's ability to kind of switch gears in between AoE and single target, and really able to kind of maximize your own efficiency and be using your Holy Words as frequently as you need to, while also keeping the raid topped and dominating the meters, really. From there, a lot of times you'll be looking at when you might be using your Divine Hymn. Using Divine Hymn is always very, very important to be able to use your Holy Words ahead of time. So because of the artifact trait Renew the Faith, where it's causing your Prayer Mendings to bounce like crazy, it's very important to have a rough priority of using your Prayer Mending, using a Holy Word, and then casting your Divine Hymn. You know, so if you're ever able to plan out when you want to be using your hymn in advance, this will give you a lot more opportunity just to plan when you want to be using your abilities, how you want to be using your abilities to maximize the throughput of your Divine Hymn. Most of the healing out of Divine Hymn is actually the passive healing going on behind it. So your Echo of Light, again, your Prayer of Mending, your Renew, all these other spells that are going on around it that are also having a very big effect. So Divine Hymn's healing is not just the spell itself, it's a lot of the other heals that it has very high synergy with and high interactions with, so keep that in mind. Positioning is one of the biggest things that many Holy Priests I know struggle with, and it's one thing that can really easily be alleviated by just watching yourself play, and that's one of the reasons I got into streaming myself, where you're able to better push yourself to watch your own positioning, watch where you are standing, and prepare to move whenever possible. So some fights are very immobile. You know, Scorpion, for example, has some little bursts of movement, but not too many. But other fights, maybe like Gul'dan, can have very, very high movement, depending on the difficulty, depending on what's going on. So keep that in mind whenever you're able to plan out where you need to be moving. Always take advantage of that. So something where you're able to quickly feather, run to where you need to be, get there on time, get there, you know, early even, so that you're able to be casting on other players if high damage is going out. You'll see that on my Mythic Gul'dan kill. You know, that the positioning and being able to plant yourself to start healing is going to be immensely, immensely important. Your cast per minute, how many casts you're getting off every single minute of the fight, is extremely important, and ideally you want to be looking around 30-35 casts per minute over the course of encounters. Keep in mind that Holy Priest is an extremely versatile healer, and any situation that is really happening, you can conquer. You know, Holy Priest has gotten so much better this expansion compared to other expansions that I played, and it really is having its time to shine in Legion at the moment. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. If you want to check out some of the longer explanations, of course, for a lot of my guides and stuff like that, check out my written guides linked below. Of course, keep an eye on our mythic progression and stuff like that. We cleared 10 to 10 at the time of this video last week, so you can check out our Mythic Gul'dan kill as well, also on this channel. I hope you all enjoy this. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe, the works if you did. I'll catch you all next time.